the situation is it's very hard, and several journalists are, as myself, we had to flee from Mexico. Just in El Paso, Texas, now there are 3 people asking for asylum, and in several places are journalists trying to flee, or now they are trying to find refuge.
Luis Horacio, you fled and sought asylum in 2008. You wrote at one point, "I sometimes think that I was like a frog in an experiment, placed in water whose temperature is raised bit by bit until it dies." Can you talk about some of your personal experiences and why you decided to flee your homeland?
Well, basically, I as you mentioned in the text that I wrote for this special report for Committee to Protect Journalists, basically I was caught between 2 fires, I would say. At one point, in the middle of 2008, I was doing some investigations, journalistic investigations, regarding the powerful, or the rise of these binational gangs that operates in both sides of the border, as Mexico and U.S. And in that moment, there was a massacre of several gangsters inside of the rehab center in Ciudad Juarez. When I was there, taking notes and pictures and getting information, several witnesses told me that when the hitmen came to this rehab center, they were protected by military, and they said that at least one car or one patrol, undercover patrol from the local state police. That was the first. After that, I started being followed. I started to be harassed, and maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I start another investigation that regarding the abuses from the militaries who supposedly came to Chihuahua to fight against the narco traffickers. But on that time, in September 2008, the Human Rights Commission in the state, they had documented around 100 and something of denounces for kidnaps, illegals, kidnaps, torture, lots of abuses, human rights abuses. So I had a police officer, a source of mine. He was well known among all these investigation and things. He just led me. He gave me a warning, and he said that I need to be very careful because he had some information about these militaries are mad with me because they don't like to be under this kind of investigation. So at one point, I noticed that my phone was tapped. My wife, one day she was followed, and just outside of the house, 2 men who followed her. They just park outside of the house and make some with the hand. They made some signs trying to. We think that it's kind of intimidation. So I've been journalist for 18 years. So in my experience and information that I got, I think that I thought that there's a point that you can be risking your life or risking your family's life. So that's why we decided to flee.
We're speaking to Luis Horacio Nájera, just granted refugee status in Canada. He lives in Vancouver now, was a reporter in Juarez. And Julian Cardona, reporting still from Ciudad Juarez, has been for the last 17 years. We'll come back to them after break, and then we'll speak with the well-known public intellectual, former foreign minister of Mexico, Jorge Castañeda. Stay with us. Libertad by Rebel Diaz here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. We're spending the hour on Mexico and U.S. drug policy towards Mexico. Our guests are Luis Horacio Nájera, just granted refugee status in Vancouver, Canada. Julian Cardona is with us from Ciudad Juarez over the past 17 years. He writes for the Mexico City Bureau of Reuters and has collaborated on several books with Charles Bowden, who we've had on Democracy Now! Doing this story today as one reporter after another is injured or gunned down. The latest, Luis Carlos Santiago Orozco. Julian Cardona, did you know him? He was 21 years old.
I met him a couple of days before his killing. He was very young. I have a very good relationship, a friendship relationship with my colleagues of Diario, because I work for Diario. We both, Luis Horacio and me, worked for Diario some time, and we worked together doing reporting. He may remember that time. And I met this young Luis Carlos Santiago a couple of days before his killing. I called my friend Ernesto Rodriguez, who is an old photographer for Diario, and we just met to share some drinks on the middle of the day at noon, and we were talking, and he was there. I have seen him before, but it was my first chance to speak with him, to talk to him, and it was just very casual, nothing like, and they were sending the photographs, they're filing the photographs to the newspaper from a convenience stores, and they were having some food, and that's how I met this young photojournalist. And when I heard the shots from my house, because he was killed a couple of blocks away from my house, and it's an area where I hear sometimes